Hey sunshine, I'm Cady, and if you're new here, Dark Sunlight is my little slice of the internet where I plan, create, and live with love. I just wanted to start by saying that I recognize that these are some wild times we're living through right now, and I know a lot of us are in quarantine or practicing social distancing, and that can be tough. And I will be putting out a video next week about how I'm coping and some tips I have for working from home. But in the meantime, I wanted to keep some level of normalcy by setting up my bullet journal as I normally would. So after this little flip through of March, we'll get into my April setup. Oh, and this spread here was something I made for my last video all about healing my skin with a new skincare routine, which I can link above if you haven't seen it yet. The first page I'll sketch out is the monthly tracker. This month I wanted to fit the calendar onto one page, which doesn't leave much space for writing events, so I plan to leave space beneath it to list out all my important dates to remember, while also allowing me to see things in a normal calendar layout at the same time. The color for Aries is red, and so this month I chose to use a deep burgundy red color, a nice soft pink, and a sand color to keep the layouts looking nice and warm and bright. Having the calendar and important dates all fit onto one page allowed me to use the entire left-hand page for an illustrated quote. The quote I chose is, "I've never been cool and I don't care," which was said by an Aries and our Quebecoise queen, Céline Dion. I think it imbues the independent and assertive nature of Aries. I also added a symbol beneath the quote that combines the elemental symbol for fire with the glyph for Aries, which is meant to symbolize the horns of a ram. I framed the whole thing in a diamond just so it didn't feel like it was floating on an empty page, and for this I colored it using a colored pencil close to the sand-colored Tombow marker, but allowing me to get a lighter shade so that it didn't compete too much with the text. Lastly, I added some little highlights and details with my white gel pen. this next page, I started setting up my health, mood, and habit trackers, referencing back to last month so I didn't need to count all the squares from scratch. The one thing I changed this time around is that I'll be tracking all my habits in individual calendars rather than down a column like I did previously. The habits I'm tracking have also changed a little bit. Previously, I was tracking going to the gym, not drinking alcohol, and not having any sweets. But I wanted to give this month a bit of a different vibe, so I'm focusing on trying to remember to do my skincare routine morning and night, working out, which right now is at home since all the gyms have closed, reading because I never do enough of it and I have a stack of books I'd love to finish, and going to bed by 10, or at least before midnight because I never seem to get enough sleep. In the empty space on the far right side of the spread, I added some sweet pea flowers for a delicate botanical element. It's still not quite spring weather here. March is still being temperamental and giving us snow and then sun and snow and then sun, as usual, so I thought I'd bring a little bit of spring right into my bullet journal so I can enjoy it every day while I wait very impatiently for the real flowers to bloom. To mark weekends, I use that same pencil crayon again so that I could achieve that very light color so that my markers will stand out against it when I start to fill in the trackers. If you're enjoying this video, please give it a thumbs up, click subscribe, and ring the bell to get notifications every time I post a new video. I created the same style of title as I did on my monthly spread, but I thought it was missing something, so I decided to create a faux washi tape effect by drawing 2 rectangles on either side but with tattered edges, and giving it a tiny light drop shadow with the colored pencil so that it would look a little bit more 3D. The next page is my typical faves and memories page that I always set up. I think that maybe now more than ever, it's important to write down things we love and are grateful for as a reminder when we start to get frustrated or anxious. Next up is something I've never done before. I'm going to create a Dutch door for my weeklies this month. You see me here flipping back and forth and marking all my pages and flipping them back and forth again. This was me trying to decide if I was really going to cut into my journal. I did eventually decide to go through with it, so the way this will work is that I created a mini calendar on the far left so that I can always see visually what week we're in, and my events and tasks will be tracked in the middle, trimmed sections of the pages. And then that left me the whole right side to add some of those sweet pea blooms. I thought it was a nice way to be able to add a nice creative element to my weeklies while removing the need to redraw something completely new every week. Because I just don't normally have the time or patience for that, meaning my weekly spreads are often incredibly straightforward and boring, which is completely fine from a practical sense, but I like that this allowed me to have the best of both worlds. I want to take a second to recognize my newest patron, Brooke. Welcome to the team, Brooke. I'm incredibly grateful for your support, and I hope you love the bonus content and printables. If you'd like to see your name in the credits of every video, come join the team over on Patreon. I'll leave a link in the description below. Before I mark this all up with my planning, here's the final flip through of the empty pages. And don't forget that I always create free printable versions of my setups for my patrons to print and use in their own journals. I also made a desktop and phone background of the quote page. So be sure to check out my Patreon to get your hands on those. The link will be in the description below. I hope I've done my Aries sunshines proud with this setup. Let me know in the comments below if you're an Aries so I can wish you a happy birthday. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Until next time.